Calgary-Glenmore on Amendment A3.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honour to be able to get up at this time and to discuss the Amendment A3. And I guess in spirit, I have to say I agree with this amendment. Is it not coming through? But I guess sometimes we have to have some reality check, and it's interesting that the minister has said that, well, the government's gone out and had it should be working.
May be covered because we're not quite hearing you.
I don't think so. It's open. I don't know what else I can do. I usually am accused of speaking too loud, not loud enough. So, anyways, I'll speak up a little bit more, and perhaps that will help. But the minister got up and spoke and says it's not his fault for the contract that the government has entered into, and I would certainly agree with him on that fact. But he didn't go on to say whose fault it was. And so I guess I'd like to point that out. It's the government's fault. And the problem here is that the government continues to put the cart ahead of the horse in so many of these pieces of legislation that it brings forward, or is so concerned about fast-tracking things and the short setting that we get these haphazard legislation that doesn't really have the openness and the accountability that Albertans would like to see. But with the amendment and wanting it to go to the special select committee for Commissioner Search, or for the Child Advocate Search Committee, which committee I'm on, I guess I just want to point out that the majority of the members are reflected in there on how the House sits, and the government has the majority of members. And so as much as in principle I would like to see the government do this in the proper steps, the reality is that just as this bill is going to go through because the government has brought it forward and they have a whip, and I have yet to see in the years I've been in here where a government bill gets defeated because there isn't an open and individual vote on these things, as much as the government likes to say that, everyone is free to vote how they feel they want to, but it never happens. And it always amazes me how there's never any dissenting vote, that yet we always hear of the robust discussion in caucus, but no dissenting votes once we come into the House here, which I think is where that discussion really belongs. But the point on this amendment is that the government shouldn't be the one selecting this the child youth advocate, but yet it has done it. And so we're in the conundrum of being 6 months into a 4-year contract and debating on whether or not we want to go through the process, which I don't know will be productive because of the process that this government goes through, whether it's in the select committee or here in the House. And so, like I say, as much as I in spirit agree with this, and that the government I guess had the foresight to have waited till now and even had a temporary person in or something, we could do it. But I don't want to upset the apple cart now, even though it's ahead of the horse, and saying, well, let's open the process all back up and start over. And so I guess as much as I wish that the government would have got it right, I would rather, I guess, go along with what we've got now than to switch here next month and say we need to start over. But that is where it should be. But with that, I'll sit down and listen to what the minister or the mover has to say on the amendment.
Thank you.